Absolutely.
And here's how I do that. I breathe life into it. So I
Mhm.
let everybody know that I interact with. My word of the year is value. So I want you to hold me accountable to that word. If you ever feel like I'm not producing value to you, please let me know, because my goal is to go above and beyond to execute on that word this year.
All right, all right, all right. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you may be. This is your first time here. We are Old Guys Still Rock. This is going to be the best podcast that you have never seen before in your life. And I am Blair Armstrong of Team Armstrong Co-op Banker. I'm located here in beautiful, beautiful Palm Desert, California, which is just outside of Palm Springs. I am a global luxury residential realtor, just high-end real estate. That's what I specialize in, to make it super simple. And
Real
on
estate,
my
cool kids.
real estate for cool kids, man. Big money, big houses. That's what we do.
That's right.
And then on my left or on my right, you never know how it's going to turn out here from our editing, but is a good friend of mine and co-host of the show, Brent Wright. Brent Wright Incorporated, man with many different hats. We are in episode number 84. So if you really want to figure what this guy is and who he is and who I am, we strongly suggest that you start on episode 1 and take the next 83 weeks and go through all of our episodes. There's golden nuggets in every single one. I promise you, there's something that's going to hit home. To all those people that have been following us since day one, we truly, truly grateful for you. And we'll have some comments here in a little bit. But again, Brent Wright of Brent Wright Incorporated, he's located in beautiful Eugene, Oregon. I don't know if you're having monsoons or just gray weather today.
35 and foggy is like, yay, that's the high. 35.
Make those grapes for wine grow faster, right?
That's right.
The beautiful Willamette Valley. Just for those you don't know where Eugene is, in case you're some other spot, Eugene is actually the Willamette Valley, which sits in, is very well known for their Pinot Noir wines. It has some great vineyards up there. So if you ever in Eugene, maybe seeing a Duck game or a Trek game, or your kids go to the University of Oregon, check out like some really good wineries up there. There's more and more popping up. I don't even know half of them.
There's like 13 within 10 miles of my house.
It's insane, man. Like all I remember is like King Estates and
there's
some other ones. So anyway,
Sylvan Ridge.
Yes.
Sweet Cheeks.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a Sarver. There's literally a ton within 5 minutes of my house.
That's incredible. So, brother, how are you?
I am well. I am, like I told you pre-show, I feel like I can run through a damn wall. I'm jazzed. I'm energized. I'm focused. I'm intolerant of my own mediocrity currently. That is my state of mind. I am moving beyond my own mediocrity and pushing myself aggressively to step up and swing for the fence.
Well, leadership is a hard spot to be in. And that's one of the reasons why we made this podcast. And when you become a leader and you know that is basically the purpose that God has put into you, which realistically, I believe that everyone has that leadership quality in them. It's just if they peel back the onion far enough to really delve into that. Brent has done that. He's successful in a lot of businesses. He himself says that, well, yeah, I've done well, but I'm not successful. He'll flat out tell you that. Yep. But he also is very transparent. Will share his wins, his losses, how he got there. It hasn't been easy. It still isn't easy. As every entrepreneur knows, it is a grind every single day. And just when you think that you won one championship, it disappears quickly and it's on to the next. There's not a lot of room for satisfaction for an entrepreneurial brain. It's very hard for people that are not in that world to understand that. Why don't you ever celebrate? It's just very hard because it's just like, okay, I did that. And some people are better at it. I will say this, my wife, who's an entrepreneur, she's very good at celebrating her wins the right way. encompassing her team and really celebrating them. I am working on that. I don't have that in me. It's not a bad thing. I don't have that part that she has, but she has created such a great culture in celebrating those wins and making sure that her team celebrates with her. So it's really cool to watch. I tried to absorb it. Getting there, it's just been a journey, and it's a long time coming, but we're getting there. Visualization
I
helps.
celebrate others' wins a lot more than I celebrate mine. I call it dysfunctionally dissatisfied. Right. And so I'm never really happy with the end result. I'm never really happy with the progress that I've made every day. I'm always looking to gain and grow and prosper. And again, I'm really holding myself accountable to my own personal mediocrity right now. And so I think it's really tough to celebrate a lot of wins when you are always trying to push to grow. Kyle Vanderlinden and I talk a lot about, personal satisfaction. Him and I talked yesterday about not ever really buying anything for ourselves, always trying to promote and grow our families and our businesses, and never really taking the time to buy something for ourselves that's going to make us personally happy. It's a tough road for a lot of folks, and having good people to talk to, that's where my satisfaction comes in, is having a lot of good people to talk to and run things against, and to have a little bit of camaraderie with other people that feel and act and execute in a very same manner that I do.
Yeah. Yeah. Speaking of him, Kyle, I haven't heard any comments back from my comment last week on him yet.
He said he was going to have to formulate some thoughts about that.
All right, dude. All right. Well, speaking of him, man, before we get into this, man, is one thing that we haven't done in a while is really gone over some comments, and so I want to reach out. That's why we always say, leave us a comment, let us know what your show thoughts are. So this comment is from actually this would be 5 episodes ago, from episode 79, Action Over Excuses. And this is from our guy, Kyle. So Kyle, this one's for you, man. We haven't forgot about you, but motivation is my nitrous. Discipline is the fuel. I personally have to spend extra time in this season telling my B voice, which a lot of you don't know what a B voice is. It's a bitch voice that keeps you from doing stuff. So that's what B voice means. Kyle's just being really politically correct on this.
Good job, buddy.
There you go, bud. Appreciate you both. Keep making a damn difference. So Kyle, thank you for doing that. And then I have another one here. This is from last week. And let me get to this comments here. This is from Andy. This is on our episode. Get back out of here. This is on episode 83. Are you a quitter? Her comment, if I can get this up here, is, I want to turn this off, dude. Hope this is not coming through here. On quitting, sometimes it's okay to let off the gas, but you have to. Oh, goodness gracious, sorry about this. Hold on. Okay, so last week we talked about, are you a quitter? Last week was last Friday was National Quitters Day for all the New Year's resolution. So Andy said, on quitting, sometimes it's okay to let off the gas, but you have to keep going, even if it's a slow burn. Things might not happen as fast as you want, but slow is better than none, which really leads us into today's topic of what you got for us today. So, and actually have one more. I got to go back to our good follower. I mean, we have Kyle, we have Andy. They're constantly follow us a lot. Another guy that we have on here is Ken McCumber, and he wrote one for last week too. So, are you a quitter? So McCumber wrote out. He always enjoys our shout outs. He's actually traveling to go see his grandkids today, so I'm super excited for him. Another great episode, boys. I had a laugh at a couple things. I was on the treadmill hoping it would go for full 45 minutes without of my workout. Sounds like April does the same thing. Yep. So
Yep.
April, you got a partner that listens to the same way, but waiting to go start New Year's resolutions until January 1. Why? Get a good idea and implement it. Keep up the good work, sharing with 2 other guys. Which you did. So again, thank you for sharing. We had some good comments from the guys that we got those in text messages that Ken just forwarded to me. So thank you for sharing the show, guys. Thank you for comments, and all those who are watching this for the first time. That's what we really need. So if you watch on Spotify, leave us a comment, leave us your thoughts. It really just lets us know what your thoughts are, what you're thinking. There's a lot more that we could go through, and we'll try to go through those every week. But so again, Spotify, there's a spot for comments there. Obviously, YouTube, there's comments there. One thing that we haven't promoted very well, and that's my bad, is that we're actually on X. So again, if you look up above in my right-hand corner, the way that I'm looking at it above my head, there's a little logo that says OGSR with the microphone. Look for that on X and follow us. One thing, obviously, all of our episodes will be up on there. And then once in a while, I might take one of Brett's great little posts and repost it up there as well, and then tag him in it. So anyway, tell us what we got today, my friend. You had a comment.
Yep. So we have a lot of subjects that we want to hit on in the next few weeks. We're going to do a topic today that centers around this quote. The prize never goes to the fastest guy. It goes to the guy who slows down the least. True in endurance sports, and possibly even truer in life. And so that's kind of our topic of the day is do you slow down? Do you stop? Do you produce consistent, measurable results? Are you measuring your results? Are you celebrating your wins? We talked about that earlier, that, neither one of us are really great at that. And then going forward, we're going to talk about late in life marriage, which hits home for both of us pretty hard.
Amen.
Right?
Amen.
And the things that led up to that, and the things that that are different in that. And so, our constituency or our listeners are some younger, Kyle, Gerard, Andrea, but some are later in life folks like us that didn't get married until later in life, didn't have kids until later in life. Your kids have had a plethora of kids, so
basketball team and a cheerleader, dude.
Exactly. So, we're going to talk about that. Probably a 2 or 3 part series for those that, for instance, I know that we have some of our listeners that are in their, 50s and 60s that have married younger women. And so we want to really hit home about that and discuss that. It's never too late in life to start a new chapter, a new career, a new relationship, any of those things. And so we want to really talk about that, celebrate that, communicate that. But today, as we talked, is really about, what's producing consistent wins and why that's producing consistent wins. I did post something today that I posted last year at this time. Is if you're casual 1 week into this year, what does that say about how the rest of your year will go? A bad day won't ruin a year, but a bad week will. Before you start week 2, okay, of your year, do whatever it is necessary to regain your focus and discipline. And I put, go to war with your dedication to yourself and your goals. And what I would tell you is that stopping isn't an option for me. Hopefully it's not an option for you. Consistency is the key to everything. My wife and I were talking last night about how her circadian rhythm was off because of the holidays. She found herself wanting to get some rest, get caught up. And I was telling her that when I coach people on their days off, on their vacations, on their holidays, downtime, whatever they've scheduled for themselves, is to consistently get up at the same time and then schedule a nap or schedule time to wind down or schedule quiet time. But stay consistent with your circadian rhythm so that way you're not thrown off. The biggest downside to getting off of your consistent circadian rhythm is that you just feel off. And a lot of people, when they are off, they don't know why they're off. And then they head towards mild depression. They head towards anxiety, dysfunction, creating opportunities to, you and I talk about this all the time about letting the devil in, whatever your devil is, right? And so it's consistent and forward moving action. It's that's going to produce the result for you. So a lot of people, not a popular coaching item because a lot of people like to sleep in on the weekends, like to sleep in on their holidays. But I would tell you, if you want to be consistent, if you want to grow, and you want to produce lasting results, is on your days off, on your holidays, stay with your consistent time, stay with your consistent exercise routine. If that's your gig, you get up. I think you even do this. Even on your days off, I think you get up at the same time and do your exercise routine. And then you probably take a nap later in the afternoon, I'm guessing.
100%.
And, Alex Hermosi says to run hard as many days in a row as you can, and then take a day off if you need one. So like he doesn't take weekends off. He'll go 21, 22, 23 days and then take 3 days off, 7 days a week. And that might work for some people. It might not, but just what say you?
Yeah. And I'm glad you say that. So basically recapping what you said is it's really consistency, correct? That's what you said.
100%.
And I think that's a big thing because one thing that I really heard you say out of all of that consistency is that, it's like the rabbit and the hare. Just because you start off fast doesn't
burn
mean
out fast.
you're going to burn out fast, right? And one thing that really hasn't been talked about consistency is what you just said about Alex and what Andy talked about the other day. Andy is really big. Alex is the same way. Ed Milet's the same way. He's really giving back, trying to develop new leaders. Greg Rochelle's, all those guys. And if you hear them say this, is that it takes them, but take some time. Like Andy Frisella just took basically 2 weeks off, just shut it down.
Yeah.
And his interest was like, hey man, I need to do that every year. I do this, and he has a multi-billion-dollar company and he has a lot of employees, and Alex is the same way, Ed's the same way. Greg Rochelle, leads many churches. Those are just some of the people that I listen to that hit home with me. You may have other mentors. You don't take a large chunk of time off, but you take little tidbits. Taking Lincoln in the dump truck, that's your time off, right? So it's just there's different things for different people, but I think that's me taking naps. My brain turns on at 3:15, try to get out of bed by 3:45 to 4 o'clock. I go down, I do a little devotional, I read, I go to the gym. I'm probably, believe it or not, people know that I'm up that time. I get texts and emails, which I've got to learn to shut that off because it's my time. Well, it's not, but I mean, you and I, as I said, but more and more people know that I'm up that way and they're up too. And so I start getting things or emails. I've got to learn to shut that off. That's my time. And then I'm not productive in that moment, which spills into, which I allow other things, setting the tone of okay, if I'm allowed this to happen, then I'll allow it to happen work week instead of okay, I got to knock this out, this out, this out. Whatever I get, as soon as I get those 5 critical tasks, or there's 8 critical tasks, depending on where I'm at with critical tasks at that time, if I get those out done, then I can just do whatever.
Yeah.
But if I'm all over the board, which this whole conversation just triggered me. Chrissy asks me every day, what's on your plate today? And I've learned just to say real estate.
Yep.
And it drives her crazy and I think it drives her crazy. So Chrissy, if you hear this and they're like, no, that's not what I'm saying. I'm sorry. I misheard you. I say real estate because I have a calendar of things that I have to do, but at one given moment, a client or a contract or something goes AWOL, and I've got to adjust to that.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of learning like, okay, I hear what you're saying. I know what the situation is. I've got to get this done. I will get to you at this time. I'm not good at that. I react instead of react right away, instead of really just thinking about and planning. I'm like, okay, I've already promised to get this done, this done, this done, this done. I will get this done at this time, but I have to get these things done first.
Well, we talked about this a couple episodes ago about the Sam Walton book. Mm-hmm. Sam Walton is the one who started Walmart. He had the sunset theory. So he wouldn't maybe solve your problem by sunset, but he would at least acknowledge that you communicated, and he would acknowledge your problem and say he would get to it and he would deal with it by this day and this time, right? And so that's what you're saying, is that you're not good at defining that and delivering that message.
Yeah. And so, but yes, correct. I'm not doing it. I got off the train for a little bit. We're talking about consistency, and that is the big part about that. And where I was really going with this conversation is that is where I've been really focusing on. Obviously, we ripped a hole in the universe, talked about selling $25 million and sold real estate this year. A lot of people know that. I'm starting to hear those conversations. So that's a pretty lofty goal. There are consistency things that I have started putting into place that are actually making this goal a lot clearer. I'm still a long way from clarity of like how it's all going to actually happen, but the reading every day, the 5 critical tasks. I may win some days and I may lose some days. The days that I lose, in essence, I have to look at myself in the mirror like, dude, you could have really got that done. You just pushed it off. And having the vision board, visualization has really helped me out. And I've learned, okay, I can't visualize at night, because if I do at night, 3 minutes into my visualization, I fall asleep, because I use Headspace, man. And the guy's voice is awesome. It gets you into the thing. And I'm so relaxed. I'm like, I wake up the next morning, like, dude, I don't really get my visualization. So morning is good for me. The point am I trying to make it is that slow, consistent race that every good business coach or every good mentor says that. And then when it gets too much, take some time off, take some me time, take a deep breath in, exhale, and let's get back into it. However that is for you. Everybody's different. I'm not saying that taking a nap is the best way for it.
Right? Like everybody has their own pace. Like my pace, a lot of people can't keep up with.
I can.
Right? But I'm not going to slow down.
Right.
Right? And so you're not going to speed up. And other people won't understand your way. A lot of people won't understand my way, but they have their own way. It doesn't really matter the way, as long as you're producing consistent deliverables that align with your goals and your visions and your manifestations. That it truly has to align with all 3 of those things.
So let's go back to this. When you say all this, when you say, okay, goals and stuff like that, do we go back a couple episodes? If you guys haven't listened to that, what is your goal? What's your purpose? What's your word? You know, the 4 agreements, what Brent asked me to get, and it's a real hard book to find, but if you go on Amazon, there's a couple floating around. It may take you 2 or 3 weeks to get. I'm on the 2nd agreement, which is basically just let things go, control the controllables type of thing. But I strongly suggest that you get that book. I think it puts there's a lot of things that I think would really hit home to a lot of people. But one of the most powerful ones that I have right, is make your word impeccable and we talked about this a couple of episodes. What is your word for the year and how powerful that word can be? First of all, my word of the year is execute. Brent's value. You be consistency, whatever that word is. But that word, if you really understand the power of the word, is going to change not only your life, but other people's lives in it.
Well, I actually put power into the word.
Absolutely.
And here's how I do that. I breathe life into it. So I let everybody know that I interact with. My word of the year is value. So I want you to hold me accountable to that word. If you ever feel like I'm not producing value to you, please let me know. Because my goal is to go above and beyond to execute on that word this year.
So when
And
you, I'm sorry, I
yeah, go ahead.
apologize, but when you say, I need you to hold me accountable, I know that you're talking to me right now, but
Mhm.
are you saying that to everybody? Or are
Yeah.
you just saying that to me? So if people
No.
are watching this episode and they don't think that you're giving them value, are you comfortable with them calling you out on it?
Yeah. Yeah, I
Good.
have to be because that if I don't empower the word, there's no point in having a word. The
Mm-hmm.
word has to have power. And to have power, it has to have execution. And to have execution, it has to be impeccable.
How it's again consistency, right?
Yeah.
Consistency. If you're going to continue to get better consistently, if you're going to take the slow, hard, ugly, fun, all encompassing every single adjective word that you can find in the journey of either entrepreneurship or entrepreneurship.
Yep.
Um, if you don't know the difference, I strongly encourage you to look it up. It just gives you more knowledge. I'm not going to tell you what it is. Just look it up. Entrepreneurship. Two vastly things, but they work hand in hand together.
Well, and you can have both at the same time.
You can both at the same time for sure. Sometimes you need to have that at the same time.
Yeah.
But those are some of the things that Brent has just said. You know, with having a word and doing things consistent, of how we continue to become a better leader every day, and not quit. You know, National Quitters Day. So that's why
Mm-hmm.
it's what we talked about in the beginning. We have this is episode number 84. There's 83 episodes. If you go back, every single episode is just a continuation. It's a next chapter of a book. Vicky Hoke, sooner or later, will listen to and watch this episode. Asks us, you should write a book. I read it. Well, okay, this is a book on tape. Now
Mm-hmm.
you can listen to it. And it's not really a
So
podcast to our
yeah,
to
so
our
just to qualify that, Vicky is she was a librarian for 40
Mhm,
years.
mhm.
So her world is everything is written word. And that's what impacts her and that's what she enjoys. And so I told her yesterday, longtime friend, longtime customer of both of us, um, back in the day when it was Blair Armstrong from Farmers Insurance,
Mhm,
which is how we met.
mhm.
Um, and yeah, so I spent some time with her yesterday and I said, hey, you ought to listen to our podcast. She goes, I don't do podcasts. I like the written word. The written word speaks to me. And I said, well, here's the premise of it. And, if you want to, you know, listen to us and give us a critique and hold us accountable to making a damn difference. She liked that idea. That was good for her. She might be listening to it at some point. She said, I'm not opposed to checking it out because it's you guys, but the written word is what speaks to her. So everybody takes their own delivery in a different way, right? So
So let's broaden our horizons on that. Sometimes I don't know why you always trigger shit in my mind, but I
that's what
we
we're here for.
that's what we're here for. So never really thought about that way. So here's the thing that we can do. I'll figure out how to do this, but for right now, I will email you this. Every episode that we have has a transcript.
Oh,
So if
cool.
she wants to read exactly what we said, and it differentiates from you to me. It has your name, my name on it.
Yeah.
And thank you for Riverside FM for doing that for this. So I don't know if I can actually put that into a YouTube. I think Spotify may do it, but worst case scenario is I can copy or actually just download the transcript and I can email it to you and you can send it to Vicky and she can read and maybe.
That'd be sweet.
So there you go. So if you're watching this by the whim or you're more of a reader than a podcast person, and you would like the transcripts or there's something that you really want to highlight that something was said, let us know and I'll figure something out, but let us know right now through text or DM or email, whatever it is between Brent and I, and we will get you the transcripts for this show and you can go from there.
That'd be sweet.
So just a cool little feature, but thank you, Vicky,
well, that's an add value, right?
Yeah, it's value, right? But thank you, Vicky, for saying that when you read this. Thank you for saying that because you're right. There's other people that may want to read something and maybe that captures their attention or.
Well, like Kyle. Kyle doesn't watch. He listens to us while he's working.
Same thing with Ken.
Yeah.
Same thing with Ken. So
April listens to us when she's working out. So sometimes she watches us, but most of the time they're just listening. So
they always said that we have a face for radio.
I love it. I love it. I got hair for radio and
yeah, right.
Yeah.
So
I got something else for you.
Yeah, do this.
So here's another thing I posted. View painful problems as potential improvements that are screaming at you.
Read that again.
View painful problems as potential improvements that are screaming at you.
How do you feel that ties into consistency?
Well, it's because for me, execution is part of my consistent action. I don't let anything set. If it sets, then I probably won't get to it. And then it's going to be a problem that's going to scream at me until I get to it.
Being consistent of everything that we've talked about to this point, does consistency alleviate
screaming problems?
Yeah, screaming problems.
100%. So I'll give you the analogy of paying your bills every month. Right? You pay your bills every month, then nobody screams at you. You pay your bills every month, the electric bills, the lights stay on. You pay your bills every month, they don't come steal your car out from your driveway. You pay your bills every month, you have insurance, you know, et cetera, et cetera. So what happens, you and I have both been in this situation in the past. What happens when you don't pay a bill?
Not a fun time, man.
It becomes a problem that screams at you. Right? So not only do you get late fees, but then you get something turned off or somebody says they're going to show up at your door with a baseball bat or, all those things. Right. And I go to the old school New Yorker style collection agent. Right. So, back to the mob days as a metaphor, but it's true. It feels that way. It feels that way when it feels like you've disappointed people. It becomes a problem that screams at you. And no different than, say you don't take out the trash the first time that Chrissy asks, what happens?
It is a very big watching her take out the trash and subliminal message that get your shit together.
Yeah.
And take it out, right?
You just feel like you lost the game, right?
Right. And it's go ahead.
Yeah. Oh, it's debilitating to feel like you're losing all the time. And then it becomes another problem that's screaming at you that now you're losing. And then it just compounds. So lack of consistency turns into compounding issues that just don't go away.
All different walks of life, men, women, younger, older. How do I fix this issue of being consistent? what are some of the things that I could, like two or three things right now that consistency is just not in my wheelhouse right now. I'm not consistent with my diet. I'm not consistent with the things with business. I'm not consistent with things that I want to do in my relationship with marriage or boyfriend, girlfriend type of thing. What are two or three things that come to your mind that can help me get back on that train of consistency that are really going to help me become a better leader in my world?
Make a decision. First step. No different than what they say in the 12-step program. Admit it and make a decision. You have to admit it to yourself, and then you have to make a decision to change it. Accountability partner. Huge. If you don't have somebody to be accountable to, you're not typically, most people psychologically struggle with being accountable to themselves. So get an accountability partner. Third, write it down. Manifest it. Produce a goal that you're going to hold yourself accountable to for 21 days. We know the 21 days is the magic scenario. It's what is it? What's the book? Andy's book that you write in.
The five
I just
critical tasks, power list.
Power list, yeah. So the 5 critical tasks, right? So
Right.
write it and start using a power list. We know that the 21 days of consistent losses or wins will produce a result to change your direction or change your directive in that scenario. Those are just some really simple things to do. But the first step is really just getting right with yourself. That's the toughest part. And that's usually where the rubber meets the road, where people either succeed or fail.
We talked about that last week, what you just said, succeed or fail. And, it's National Quitters Day on January, 3rd? I think that's what we came up with. January 3rd is National Quitters Day. Even more, by February 1st, 80% of your New Year's resolutions that people make have failed.
Yeah.
And going back to recapping with a lot of things what Brent has talked about today, you're not going to win every day. Championship teams do not win every game of the season. You're not going to win every day in your marriage or your relationship or your business. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. I'm not going to have a great day on the golf course every day. But if you keep plugging at it and working on what Brent has said is consistency, that as long as you stick with it, you're going to have more wins than you have losses. And not, well, I lost today, then I'm done. I'm just not going to make it. Well, you might not make it this year. You may not make it next year. You may not make it for 25 years.
Yeah.
But we can't give, and there's been I'll probably say this for a different episode, but I would just say this is I think that what the big problem is. What I'm really glad that Brent picked this subject about consistency today, because the last couple of days, I just think that we've lost a standard. I think that we give up too easy. I'm talking to myself. Brent's talking to himself. A lot of people understand what I'm saying here. I think that we give ourselves easy outs, because what Brent just said, I mean, could you read that quote again about the small one? We'll repost it here.
View painful problems as potential improvements that are screaming at you. Yeah.
That says a lot. You really peel that back. And I just think that we've lost that. A lot of us have lost that standard. And maybe you're one of these guys that listen to that haven't. I'd be hard pressed to say that's BS. I hope that this episode, something that you're looking for, a void that you're trying to feel, whatever it is to it. I think there's a big the big word of consistency, if you've lost it a little bit, that you can regain it and then becoming that leader that you're supposed to be, not only for your family, not only for your friendships, but just for society in general.
For your community, right?
Mm-hmm.
Immediate results
Mm-hmm.
are seen right under your feet.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's a lot to unpack here, man. So you guys are watching this episode, and if you make it to the end, I hope that you go back and listen to it. There's a lot of key points in there. I think the big things that really stand out from what you really shared with me, again, go back to our other 83 episodes, and I know that I promote that a lot, but I just think there's a lot of things that can start peeling back these onions, these voids that people find. And I've been in that world of trying to fill a void with drugs and alcohol and toxic relationships. Um, by the grace of God, because of where I am at with my faith, he embraced me and picked me out of the like in a gutter. Um, but when you have failed to be consistent in what you're trying to find and you just become mediocre, which none of us are on this world to be mediocre. I don't believe that anybody who's watching this episode is mediocre. I don't believe that someone that is holding a sign asking to work for food or living underneath a bridge is mediocre. They just lost that thing of consistency, and it's up it is up to us that want to take those reins. And I hope that everyone that watches this episode or shares this, or getting shared this episode, does the same thing. Is how do I become a leader? Maybe it's not maybe I'm an introvert. Maybe it's just not, I don't think that I ever was. Be consistent in what you do. And you may not have to be vocal. You may not have to go stand on a platform. You may not have to do a podcast, but people are watching you, and you can be a leader in a lot of different ways. But being consistent on working on yourself to get better are going to help other people get better, regardless of what you see or what you hear. Am I correct in saying that?
Yeah, and to quote Vicky from yesterday, she said, in all the things that you do, the most impactful thing that you can do is be nice.
Mm-hmm.
So yes, hold people accountable, but be nice. Add value to people, be nice. Guide and coach, be nice. Just don't be an a-hole.
It's hard sometimes.
It is. It's
It's
hard for
hard.
me.
It's hard. It's hard for me. I get frustrated. And you'll find that for those guys who are starting on this journey or looking or reclaiming their consistency or reclaiming their standard, when that standard starts burning inside of you, other people that might not be there. Again, this when I'm saying this is a reminder to me. This is a reminder for Brent. And again, I think this will make sense to a lot of people. But just because your standard has elevated, don't forget to start helping other people find their standard as well and help them elevate. And I
Well,
think
we
that's
talk about pulling people up the mountain, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's not your job. Just because your standards have increased, it's not your job to force your standards on others.
Yeah, I got to learn that. I'm not good at that.
That's a tough road. That is a tough road. I struggle with that myself.
Yeah.
Not everybody's on the same journey as you.
Mm-hmm.
Different parts of the journey.
Mm-hmm.
They might be on the same journey, but they might be in a different chapter of that journey, right? And so, yep.
Yeah. Some good stuff today, dude.
Yep. I agree.
Yeah.
I agree.
And even with our pre-recorded stuff, that what did I do? Sooner or later, I'm going to get somebody in here to do our blooper reel. There's a lot of stuff that you don't see in here that actually is really good. But so Ken McCumber in April, pretty darn close. Of you, yeah, it's going to be pretty close today. Brent and I had a pretty good conversation beforehand. And a couple other things. So I know there's a lot of stuff. If you stay through this, for the people in the Palisades, absolutely, actually, just in LA in general, absolutely devastating fires. A lot of lost homes, some lost lives, I'm sure. I think the biggest thing is lost memories. If Brent and I can do anything for you, if you know somebody that's in that world that is needing assistance, I don't know what we can do, but feel free to reach out to us and let's do something. I've got some ideas, but until I kind of solidify those things, we'll try to make that work.
It's 5 miles from my LA office.
Yeah. It's I'm having more and more clients, obviously in my world, that are these, where I live, there are second homes out here, but some people some friends and family have just lost some stuff, and I can't imagine. There's some anger in what I'm seeing. I felt like I just dealt with this with my brother in Maui a couple of years ago.
Yep.
So anyway, just leave that for a different day. But if there's anything that we can do for you, if you have friends and family, if you have ideas of how we can, Brent and I and Old Guys Still Rock, can contribute to help people get back on their feet or find different avenues, feel free to reach out. Brent and I seem to know people that kind of can get some things done once in a while. So don't hesitate to ask. Any final words for you, my dude?
As always, just go make a damn difference for you, for your family, for your community. And if you don't know what that means, don't know how to do that, please reach out to us. We'd love to chat, love to get you guys on here. Now that the holidays are over, I'd like to get the Vanderlindens scheduled. I'd like to have my daughter on here.
Yeah.
That'd be super cool. So anyways, just go make a damn difference in your lives and the lives of others, and do it in a nice way.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm not going to toot our own horn, dude, but I think we're doing some good shit.
Yeah. I like it.
So why I feel that I'm like, you know what? We're fulfilling God's purpose and creating not only leaders in ourselves, but for other people too. So yeah, we're doing cool shit. Yep. Share our stuff. do that, man. Thank you, McCumber. Thank you, Kyle. Thank you for everyone that shares our show. Until we see each other next week, stay safe, but most of all, God bless, guys. Take care.